This is Twit.
The Chinese giant Alibaba filed paperwork yesterday to become a publicly traded stock in the United States. Mark Millian is a tech writer for Bloomberg. He's written about this story, and he's here to tell us all about Alibaba and this strange story of a gigantic company hardly anyone has heard of. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, Mike.
What's up, Mark?
Now, of course, I say hardly anybody's heard of. In China, they've definitely heard of it. In the U.S., most U.S. consumers are unfamiliar with it, even though it's one of the world's largest tech companies, significantly bigger than most of the big U.S. tech companies. Can you tell us what kind of businesses Alibaba is in, Mark?
Oh, yeah. Alibaba is absolutely a beast. It's been often called the Amazon of China because it's by far the biggest e-commerce online shopping service in the country. They have something like 231 million people who use it on a regular basis. They buy on average 49 orders from this website per year, and they spend $248 billion buying everything from food, which is the most popular category of things to buy there because food safety is a big issue in China, to electronics and iPads, to forklifts. You'll find some small businesses buying massive machines and automobiles on this website. But that's not all they do. They have this Taobao marketplace, which is the largest service, which is more of like a B2B sort of thing, where you'll find some of these forklifts, and it's mainly like small sellers, kind of like an eBay. They also do auctions. And then there's Tmall, which is more like the Amazon service you might know. But then they're in a bunch of other things, like they've got an Amazon Web Services type business. They also have a music streaming service, and they've more recently gotten into basically being a UPS for China. They want to be able to deliver packages 24 hours a day to anywhere in China. They're just an insane conglomerate in the biggest internet market in the world, and now they're starting to look elsewhere. And this IPO in the U.S. is the first step there.
Now, you compared them to Amazon, and that's probably a handy way for U.S. consumers to understand what they do, even if it's a little bit not exactly what they do. But in a couple of respects, they are the opposite of Amazon. For example, Amazon is famous for plowing all of their profits back into the company, so their profit margin is very low. They have razor-thin profits on purpose because they're trying to undercut competitors with lower prices and that sort of thing. Alibaba is massively profitable, profit margin of roughly 45%, and in fact in 2013 they made a profit of $3.56 billion on revenue of $7.95 billion. That's enormous profit margin, and that's going to really get the attention of stockholders who want to invest in this company. How do they make such high profits, especially in a country like China where pricing is such a sensitive issue?
Yeah, their main business, Taobao Marketplace, is more of like an eBay in the respect that it just facilitates companies to sell their goods to other businesses that need sort of high-end equipment or to consumers. And then Alibaba takes a cut of those transactions. So it's not, their main business isn't so much like Amazon, where they will do, manage their own product inventory and drive down the cost so they can be cheaper than Walmart. And the sort of the flip side of that is for hundreds of millions of Chinese, there is no Walmart, and there is no sort of corner store where they can get everything they might need, including, like I mentioned before, sort of clean food. So Alibaba, for the vast majority of China's cities, is basically the only option. So they can sort of drive up prices on certain items to the extent that there's very little competition because nobody really has the breadth of Alibaba in China.
Now, one of the most interesting things about this story is the founder of Alibaba, his name is Jack Ma. He's the biggest shareholder, and the company is structured to maintain enormous dictatorial powers in his personal hands. And that's something that gives some stockholders pause. But what do you know about Jack Ma? Where did he come from, and what is his story broadly?
He's a pretty wild dude. I think he failed his college finals like twice and had to retake them, and so he was not. You know, he didn't drop out like a lot of your Silicon Valley executives did, but he did. His challenges in school are well known. He's a fan of the martial arts. He at his going away ceremony for Alibaba, he stepped down last year or the year before. He sang a song and danced around in front of thousands of employees. But he's really sort of this guiding force. He's almost a Steve Jobsian type figure within China. He's this huge personality there. He exerts a lot of control over the company, as evidenced by this structure that you were referencing, where some longtime managers at the company and at affiliated companies were given the rights to essentially appoint who the board members will be, basically cutting shareholders out of that voting process for the most part.
Well, let this be a lesson to all the kids out there. You don't have to drop out of college to become an internet billionaire. You can stay in college and get horrible grades and still make it to the top. So, Mark Millian, I want to thank you for coming on Tech News Today.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, you can find Mark Millian at Bloomberg.com and also on Twitter at Mark Millian. That's Millian, M-I-L-I-A-N.